bit more of a floor-based relaxation and stretch class. You will need a blanket, so if you don't have a blanket, run and grab that now. And maybe just some cushions or a block or something. We're going to roll our blanket up so it's nice and long. Like a sausage. And then we're just going to lie it down on our mats like so. We're going to start our class like this today. So we're going to sit our bottom off the blanket and then start to lower your spine down onto your blanket. So depending on the size of your blanket is, I guess, the more extension you will get in your spine. Our feet can be together, so in a butterfly shape. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can have your feet a little bit wider, knees touching, or just standard hip width, or you could even extend them out long. I'll go for butterfly today. If it feels a little bit too intense in the hips, you can always bring your props underneath to support, because we will be here for a little bit longer, or just a couple of cushions, okay? We do want to keep a nice light activation here in the stomach muscles, so just a sense of simply lifting the pelvic floor, knitting everything in, but we are expanding and opening through the front of the body. So palms facing up, gentle length through the back of the head. If you feel like your head is tipping back like this, and you can't draw your chin to your chest, you might need just a little bit of extra height underneath that part of your blanket. Don't use a block, that will be a bit too high, I just can't quite reach my cushion. Just bring a little cushion or something else underneath there. So nice and long neck. Settling in here, taking a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, side out the mouth. And just start to allow your body to sink. Allow your head to be heavy, your pelvis to be heavy, your feet, the edges of your feet to soften. Try and release any tension anywhere in the body. And then focus your breath, first by breathing into the stomach, a little rise in the belly, but then drawing the breath right up into the very top of your chest, up around your collarbones, really trying to expand into the front, opening the front of the body, helping to keep the spine nice and long. We spend a lot of time rounded forward over computers, on couches, with our phones, so this is something that is nice for the chest to open rather than being closed and rounded. So it really helps with the posture. A couple more breaths here. Well done. So slowly bringing your hands, if they reach your thighs, lightly draw your thighs back up. Just take a moment to pause with your legs together if they were out in butterfly. And then we're going to slowly roll off to one side. I'm just going to pause on our side for a moment in fetal position. Awesome, then using your left hand, prop yourself up. Take your long sausage. You're just going to roll it along this sideways now. Come back. This time the sausage is going to go underneath your armpits. Your arms will lie over the top and your head will relax back. Keep your knees bent. So a little bit more intense. Feel free to use something smaller if the sausage blanket feels too much. But we'll just have a couple more breaths here. Again, opening into the chest, helping us to have more space for breathing. So really take a few full breaths. One last breath here. Maybe this time you want to roll onto the other side and lie in fetal position. Use your hands to support your head. Now, all these stretches that we're doing today, we're going to take really gently and we are going to hold them a little bit longer. It's almost more like a bit of a yin class. So we're going to keep that sausage there. This time we're going to lie on our side. It's going to go underneath our armpit. So just a little bit of sideways extension, or maybe just below the armpit. And then the top arm is going to reach up and over. Now what we want to avoid here is arching your back. So you're still keeping the spine nice and long. What we're trying to do is just create space along the top side of the body. So you can keep your knees bent, or you can extend that top leg as well. Then just let everything relax. If you don't feel this blanket is high enough, you could always grab something a little bit thicker. If you've got a bolster, probably most of you won't, you could use a bolster, or you could just use a couple of cushions stacked on top of each other. And you do the same thing. It just creates a little bit more of a rainbow shape under the body, so you get more stretch over this top line. This top knee can also bend, and you just let the knee be heavy. Just relax here, doesn't matter what you do with the top arm. But again, nice long spine, not flaring your rib cage open. It's very tempting. That feels a bit high for me, so I might slide that out. That's better. 5 more breaths here. What we're doing really is just stretching all the muscles and tissues and fascia all around the ribs, creating space for our breath. So try and even, if you can, put your hand on that top rib area, maybe even this top hand for a moment, and try and breathe up into your hand. Press your breath up into your hand so you can really feel that you're expanding this side of your ribs. And then when you've got the hang of that breath, just come back down. Doesn't matter too much what you look like, it's more what you feel like in these shapes. You really just want to feel a nice opening. It's not too intense either. It's a gentle opening so that our nervous system has time to realign and rebalance. So it's a bit of an immunity building class as well, just recentering. Couple more big breaths here. And then slowly press yourself up. Now if you feel like between each pose you need to lie flat on your back or your stomach, feel free to do that. I'm just going to move from side to side. And then sit up. So I guess the bolster or the blanket or the pillows can go wherever you want really, but it's just creating the lift in this side of the ribs. So it's under this side of the ribs so that this side can open. Let me move down then this top leg can extend out, it can bend, this top arm can reach up and over, it can bend. Just find yourself in a comfortable, somewhat comfortable shape so that you can gently lengthen the tissue along the right side or the left side, whatever side you're on. And then focus back on your breath, so closing down the eyes, noticing how your body responds to this subtle shape. And then see if you can encourage a little bit more breath up into your top ribs or the side of your ribs here. Try and use your hand, maybe breathe up into your hand. Notice what happens as you do that. And then you can take your hand away and try and recreate that breath. And then just soften once again. Let everything be heavy. Couple more breaths here on this side. And then bringing your hands down, slowly press yourself up. So you will need your blanket or your pillow, maybe just a little bit lower now, just for a little bit of cushioning. So we're going to come into a half frog position. So I'll show you from the front so you can see what it looks like. So you start by lying down on your belly, and then you slide one knee out to the side. Okay, and then you're going to relax the upper body down on the side as well. It's not a huge stretch for some of you who are quite flexible in the hips. If that's the case, you could always come into a double frog where your knees and feet come out away from the center. Feet turned out if that works in your ankle joint, and you come down onto your forearms, onto your forehead. But make sure that your knees and your hips are still in the same line, so you're not forward of your knee joints. Okay, so that's option if you want to. But otherwise, I'm going to come into the half frog. I might even use a pillow for my upper body here. So I'm going to start with bringing my right knee out onto my blanket and really stretching it out and away. So if you're going to do the half frog, you're going to have about 6 or 7 breaths each side, so not too long. If you're in your full frog, let's do about 15 or 16 breaths. And just let the pelvis be heavy. Try not to grip into the hip muscles. This is a different type of stretching. It's more a passive form of stretching where we're working into the connective tissues in the body. We're trying on a deeper level to allow the nervous system to help us to open the body. That's why it's important to breathe nice and deeply and slowly, and not push too hard. So not go into that place where the sensation is so strong that we can't remain calm and at peace, and we can't breathe. So it's a really deep form of healing in a way. So if you're doing the half frog with me, we will slowly slide that leg back, have a little pause in the middle, and move on to the other leg. If you're in the full frog, you'll stay there for a little bit longer. Again, once you shuffle into the other side, try and let your pelvis be heavy straight away. Let any tension through the upper body release. Focusing back into your breath. Maybe take a few deeper breaths, a few sighs here. And then everybody slowly come back to center. So if you're in your full frog, let me show you how to get out of it. So you gently walk one knee at a time back to center, and then just for a moment pause in the middle, maybe rest back towards a child's pose. Awesome. And then from here we're all going to come into our puppy pose or a heart melting pose. Maybe you want to keep your blanket underneath your knees here, that's fine. You could bring a pillow in for your head if your forehead didn't touch the ground, or you can just allow your forehead to touch the ground. So keeping the pelvis over the knees, toes can be tucked or flat, that's up to you. I like to keep my toes tucked. And then you just walk your hands out long. Forehead may come down or may rest on your pillow. And for this one, we're going to stay active for the first few breaths, and then if it feels comfortable, we're just going to relax into it a little bit more. But I want you to avoid kind of arching the lower back. So we stay a little bit active through the stomach muscles. If it doesn't feel comfortable with your arms completely straight, you just come into puppy pose a little bit more with your elbows bent. Forearms can be on the mat. But otherwise, just enjoying that nice long spine position. And then maybe if it feels comfortable now, start to soften into it a little bit more. Keep a little bit active through the belly. Last few breaths. And then slowly walking yourself back up. Maybe a few rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale one way. Exhale the other. Keeping the eyes soft or closed so that focus stays inward, so that you can feel what's happening in the tissues of your body. You can notice the sensations. And then coming off your blanket if it's there, you're just going to slide your blanket or a pillow forward. We're going to come down into our Sphinx pose, but we're going to bring this blanket or pillow into our stomach area, so just above the hip bones. Prop yourself up into your Sphinx shape, spine nice and long. To begin with, we'll stay lifted, so you press the floor away, And then slowly we'll experience what it feels like to lengthen down and maybe even drop the head if that feels comfortable. But to begin with, drawing the chin to throat, closing the eyes, reaching out through the toes and the crown of the head. Just a few more breaths here. And then slowly softening a little bit. Whatever that means for you, if it feels comfortable, just soften. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly, gently pressing yourself up. Maybe back to your puppy pose or to child's pose if you feel comfortable in child's pose. Doesn't work for everybody. But you can put a blanket or pillows under your heels to prop you up in your child's pose. Because we will be here just for a little bit longer. And that just supports the knees a bit more. Okay, slowly, gently coming up. So you will probably need a cushion or a blanket for this next one. Maybe roll your blanket up a few times, sit up on it. And then let's start with our left leg out in front, and then our right knee on top of our left knee if we can. Now if that's still a little bit too restricted for you, you could always just keep the the right foot down, because I'm doing the opposite, yeah. So left leg out long, right foot on the ground if that's the space you have. If you have more space, you bring your right knee on top of your left. Okay, and then from here, if you've got more space and you can actually sit with that left foot underneath as well, you can do that. But we're going to add a gentle twist towards the left side, and we're just going to hold it here for about 8 breaths. So whichever version, I'll go all the way back to the start. Whichever version you're choosing, really anchor down through your sit bones. Left hand can just lightly cup that right knee as you twist. Keep the spine tall. Focus on the breath. Slowly unravel, come back to center, change sides. So right leg out this time, left foot across towards the outside of that leg, hand to knee, gently twist. If you did the knee version where your knee is stacked, that's nice too. Or if you did the other version where you're all cross-legged and shoelaced up, that's nice as well if you can get into it. But don't force, we want it to be a subtle opening. We're working here on the nervous system, allowing the tissues to release. See if you can expand your breath. Feel the length through your spine. Ground down into your sit bones or press them into the floor or the blanket. Come back to center, gently unravel. Bring your hands back behind you, just for a moment, lift your hips. Then come back down, windscreen wiping your legs slowly from side to side. Good. Bringing your blanket behind you, maybe unrolling it a little bit. Final pose in our upright seated position. We'll do caterpillar or forward fold. Feel free to prop yourself up with lots of pillows, it's quite nice. And you could use a big pillow. And of course, if it doesn't feel great to have your legs straight here for some reason, you could always have them a little bit bent or bring a pillow underneath. You just want to feel relaxed. Then we tip forward from the pelvis, let the upper body relax. So spine is a little bit rounded here, but the lower back and the pelvis are long. So we have hinged forward from the pelvis. And we just let ourselves relax here. 10 breaths. Stretching that whole back chain, the back tissue from the heels all the way to the head. So now you can add a little bit more breath focus into the back of your ribs, really trying to expand or press them out behind you. Upper body's heavy, head is heavy. And then taking that last breath, slowly, gently coming out. Lengthen your spine up nice and tall. So we're going to come down onto our backs now for bridge pose, but it will be a supported bridge. So you can again roll up your blanket a bunch of times or maybe fold it up to give you that height, or you could use a block or a book or a pillow, anything you like. So slowly, gently coming down, heels underneath the knees, lift your pelvis, slide your prop, whatever it is you have at home, underneath the pelvis, so the bony bit, not your cushy butt cheeks and not into your lower back. It can go on any level. If you have a block, you can turn it up to a higher level. And just allow everything to be supported by your block. You could even allow your knees to knock in if that feels more comfortable. Breathe into the whole front line of your body now. If you're doing this class and it's just before bedtime, you could do waterfall pose where you stay here in this shape, but then you just extend your legs up towards the ceiling, like so. It's really nice for just before bed. Otherwise, just a couple more breaths here in your supported bridge. See if there's, excuse me, see if you can let go of your pelvis just a little bit more. And then we lift the hips up, slide the block out. Figure of four, left ankle over right knee. Keep it low. Let your body just gently unfold. See if you can just let the legs be a little bit heavier, let your pelvis sink into the floor. And then slowly dropping that left foot over towards the right, coming into a version of side twist, pointing the left knee up to the ceiling. Now if this doesn't feel good, uncross the legs and just stack the knees on top of each other for a normal side twist. If you've had enough on this one, you could always do that normal side twist as well for the last little bit. Try not to hang on to the legs, just let the legs move about and find their own position. And then slowly, gently coming back to center. Before we do the other side, just gently bringing the arms up and just really slowly circling the wrists. Create some sense of rhythm with your breath. Relax the arms down, other side. Nice gentle figure of four stretch. See if you can bring your focus to the present moment. It's hard not to think about what's happening next, especially if you're halfway through your day. Sometimes the best time is first thing in the morning to do some class or last thing at night. Sometimes we just have to fit it in when we can. So focusing on the breath will help you to stay in this present moment. Maybe even just gently observing how your chest moves. You could put your hands on your chest and feel that contact, like feel how your chest moves up into your hand as you breathe. Anything to keep you in the body, in the present moment. So if you find another thing that works for you, you could use that. And then gently coming into your twist, allowing that right foot to come down to the floor, right knee points up to the ceiling. Again, if this doesn't feel great in your hip for any reason, please just come to a regular side twist. And if halfway through, like me, you've had enough of this and you prefer just to be really floppy in a side twist, do that. And you can just swap arms to keep that contact with your chest if you need to. present moment, focusing on your breath or any sensations that you're experiencing within your body, whether it's directly related to your shape, the twist, or whether there's something else going on for you. Last few moments here. And then gently making your way back to center. Just have a little pause for a moment, maybe a wiggle of the hips. Lie the legs out long, stack one ankle on top of the other. Interlace the hands, but from the opposite side, and then pull the interlace up and through towards your chest, allowing the elbows to drop down towards your ribs. If this doesn't feel comfortable, just interlace your hands and rest them on your ribs, okay? Holding here for about 5 breaths. Full body integration this is, balancing energy flow. It's called the Wayne Cook posture. Really nice, deep meditative state. Maybe even a couple of sighs as you release any tension that's lingering. And in your own time, everybody, just slowly unravel from this shape and make your way into your final relaxation. Please stay there for as long as you can today, just allowing the body to soften and settle. Integrating all of your practice and just staying in that nice chill state, feeling that sense of connection to yourself and your breath. Don't force anything. But for the sake of the video, I am going to keep it in this time frame and switch it off now. So well done on doing your relaxing stretch yin class today. And I will see you next time.